Get ready, because the silver market is about to explode, and what I'm about to share with you is the reason why a 125 price target is not just a fantasy. It's becoming a very real possibility. We're on the verge of a historic supply shock, and it's all starting with a seismic shift coming out of China. This isn't just another market fluctuation. This is a fundamental breakdown in the global supply chain that could send silver prices into the stratosphere. For years, we've talked about the massive industrial and investment demand for silver. We know it's essential for solar panels, electric vehicles, and all our high-tech gadgets. But we've always operated under the assumption that the supply, while tight, would somehow keep up. That assumption is about to be shattered. The latest data coming out of China is pointing to a catastrophic collapse in their domestic silver production and a dramatic halt in their exports. So what's happening in China? It's a perfect storm. They've been facing severe environmental crackdowns, forcing many smaller, less efficient mines to shut down permanently. On top of that, their primary sources of silver, which are often byproducts of lead and zinc mining, are seeing declining ore grades. This means they have to process more and more rock to get the same amount of silver, driving up costs and making many operations unprofitable. The Shanghai Gold Exchange, which is a key hub for physical silver in Asia, has been showing dwindling inventories for months. The reserves are being drawn down at an alarming rate, and they are not being replenished. Now, why is a supply issue in China a global emergency for silver? Because for decades, the world has relied on China to fill the supply gap. They were a massive net exporter of silver. But the tables have completely turned. China is now on the brink of becoming a net importer. They are hoarding every ounce they produce for their own booming green energy and technology sectors. They need it for their own solar panel factories, their own EV production, and their own 5G rollout. They are prioritizing their national needs over exporting to the rest of the world. This isn't a temporary blip, it's a strategic pivot. Think about what this means. You have a global market that was already in a structural deficit, meaning we were consuming more silver than we were mining, even with China exporting. Now, you take one of the biggest suppliers and not only remove them from the equation, but turn them into a competitor for the remaining scarce supply. Where is the world going to get its silver? The answer is, it can't, not at these prices. This is the trigger for the global panic. Major industrial users, from tech giants to automotive manufacturers, are starting to realize that their supply chains are incredibly vulnerable. They've been operating on a just-in-time inventory model, assuming they could always buy silver on the open market. But what happens when there's no silver to buy? They will have no choice but to start panic buying, securing whatever physical silver they can get their hands on at any price. This isn't about speculation, it's about survival for their businesses. If they can't get silver, their production lines grind to a halt. This industrial panic will spill over into the investment market. As the stories of shortages hit the mainstream media, everyday investors will rush into silver as a safe haven and a store of value, just as they did in previous bull markets. But this time, it will be different. The COMEX and the LBMA, which are supposed to be the epicenters of the silver trade, are holding massive paper claims on a very small amount of physical metal. We've talked about this leverage system for years. When a genuine, widespread physical shortage hits, this paper market will break. The disconnect between the paper price and the price for real physical silver will become a chasm. This is how we get to $125 silver. It starts with the Chinese supply collapse, which triggers industrial panic buying. This, in turn, exposes the fragility of the paper markets and ignites a massive wave of investment demand. It's a chain reaction, a domino effect that is already in motion. We're not talking about if this will happen. We're talking about when. The numbers don't lie, the structural deficit is real, and the Chinese supply shock is the catalyst that will unleash the true value of silver. Look at the historical context. When the Hunt brothers tried to corner the market in 1980, silver rocketed to $50 an ounce. That was driven purely by investment demand. Today, we have a far more powerful driver, a complete breakdown on the supply side, coupled with unprecedented and non-negotiable industrial demand. The scale of this is orders of magnitude larger than anything we saw in 1980. Adjusting that 50 peak for inflation alone gets you well over $170 in today's money. So is a target of 125 really that crazy? I'd argue it's actually conservative. The first movers, the ones who understand what's happening right now, are the ones who will benefit the most. The mainstream financial world is still asleep at the wheel, looking at manipulated paper prices and outdated supply models. They don't see the ground shifting beneath their feet. They don't see the empty vaults in Shanghai. By the time they wake up, the panic will be in full swing, and the opportunity to acquire silver at today's prices will be gone forever. This is more than just an investment thesis. It's an alert. The global silver market is flashing red. The supply collapse in China is not a drill. It's the beginning of a repricing event that will be talked about for generations. Those who are positioned correctly will see life-changing returns. Those who ignore the warnings will be left wondering what happened. the fuse has been lit. The countdown to the great silver breakout has begun. Keep your eyes on the inventory levels, watch the export data out of China, and most importantly, understand the magnitude of this shift. This is the story of the decade for precious metals. Don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more updates as this incredible story unfolds.